Thanks everyone for coming out. Thank you to Brand Innovators. And thanks for starting your can with us. So I think let's obviously do some introductions. Would you like to start? I'm joined by Sam, but I'll let you please introduce yourself.
Sure. Hello everyone. Good morning. What a lovely day we have, right? My name is Samantha Avivi, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Consumer Health Bear in North America. I've been with the company for 2.5 months. So, yes, I know, very brave of me to get up here and speak with you all. Don't ask me any hard questions. The good news is my team is here supporting me. So if I don't have the answer, I might just ask them to come up on the stage with me.
I love it. So I'm Andrew Rodriguez. I'm with Proximic by Comscore. I feel like most people know the Comscore name, but if you're not familiar with Proximic, we are the division of Comscore that focuses on really tapping into that big data for targeting use cases. And really think of it with a big focus these days, obviously on privacy and really, reimagining audience targeting in the world of privacy, still with a consumer focus at the end of the day. So what we can promise you from this panel today, you will laugh, you will cry, we will hit every industry buzzword you could want in 25 minutes tops. And we'll definitely leave some time for questions that maybe we can answer. And so from there, I think, let's just go, and I think people probably know Bayer. They've heard the name. Maybe it's the aspirin we've all heard of for years. Maybe the agricultural side, different advancements you guys have made. But for Bayer Consumer Health, do you want to just make sure everyone's aware of who you are, what they do, and tee it up from there?
For sure. I'd be remiss not to take a step back and talk about the broader Bayer, because we have 3 very big divisions, as you had mentioned. And so the divisions are pharmaceuticals, consumer health, and crop science. And what's amazing about those 3 divisions is where they come together is all in the intersection of health and nutrition. And so as a result, we have a mission as a company that's all about health for all, hunger for none. And that really drives what we do on a daily basis. And what's beautiful about that is it goes all the way back to the foundation of our company, which started with Bayer aspirin. And that's over 100 years old. And it was the wonder drug. It is the wonder drug because it cured ailments that people didn't have solutions for. And so that's what we continue to do. And that brand still lives within the consumer health business. Specifically on the consumer health, and I'm coming to your answer, we have focused in 3 different areas. The first one is over-the-counter or non-prescription products. We have nutritional supplements and other health access products. Because we believe that self-care as a division really helps enable better health. So what we do as a result is we look very hard and work hard to enable and provide that self-care to everyone through our brands. So whether it be Bayer, which we talked about, Bayer aspirin, or Claritin, or Aleve, or One A Day, all of these brands come together for our ultimate mission, which is to enable over 1 billion people globally to take care of themselves. Globally, we have over 100,000 people working for the company, and in our largest markets, we have anywhere between 20,000 plus people in there. So we're pretty big, our brands are pretty well known, and Bayer sort of goes under the radar, but it might not be for long that way. So I'm very proud to be working for the company after 2.5 months and look forward to partnering with the team to do great stuff on our brands.
I love that. And I think
she really loves that. Yeah, she's going to say it one more time. Do you love that? Yeah. Okay. Yes. She loved everything I just said.
Are we good?
No. Do you want to tell them?
Sure.
I hated it.
There it works. All right, we'll switch. So I think you brought up a good point. Over 100 plus years for Bayer aspirin. 2 months in for you. But I think that gives you such a unique POV coming into here. So You said you're excited about parts. What is it that you would really, when you look what you'd like to do? You're not new to being a CMO, just new within Bayer. What excites you? What are some of the plans you have? How do you want to tackle things and spice it up a little bit?
What a fun question. She's going off script. I love it. So what excites me? Well, what excites me about Bayer is still today why I came to Bayer. First of all, like I mentioned, the purpose, the mission is exceptional. How lucky are we at Bayer to be making a difference in people's lives every day in their health? So for sure, we are a mission-based company and do good by people. Number two, our brands. Our brands are phenomenal. They're iconic, they're legendary, and we make a difference in people's lives every day. Number three is our people. So I work with some pretty awesome people, not only at Bayer, but also our partners. And I'm just getting to know our partners, and I walk away from meetings and lunches, and I feel totally blessed. So we have a recipe for great things. To me, the opportunity is to really, and oh, by the way, some of you may know, but we've been winning some amazing awards creatively and in effectiveness and growing our brands that are number one or number two in so many of our categories. So my role is not to totally shake things up, but to build on the great things that we've done this far and really add some rigor and discipline to accelerate growth for our businesses around it.
So with the acceleration, I'd be remiss not to look at kind of just 2024 as a year so far. We've had, cookie deprecation discussions, never going away. Privacy regulations, new state laws around that, AI, how kind of within your role, trying to make sure you accelerate, you're focusing on the brands and the people, but then how do you deal with everything else and all the shifts going on in the ecosystem overall?
Yeah, sure. So one of the areas that I was really happy about is how advanced we are in the constantly changing environment. And that's one of the things I love about marketing is it's constantly changing, and so you always have to stay on your game. So things like, let's call it cookie deprivation, we have been working on this for 4 or 5 years by now, and we're way ahead of the curve. Our reliance on third-party cookies has decreased significantly. We do have strong strategic partnerships that we maximize. We also look to partners that own their relationships to partner up with, whether it's Instagram or Meta. So we still continue with those from a privacy standpoint. But this cookie change, when it eventually happens, they've been talking about it now for 4 or 5 years. When it eventually happens, we will not only be ready, but we will already be living it for sure. You also asked me about AI. Last year, if you were here and you had that on your buzzword bingo, you would have made a lot of money. But that's also something that we at Bayer have been experimenting with for years. I just saw one program that we're doing. It's in a SaaS platform where we are implementing or we're inputting a bunch of different components about our brands, whether it be the positioning or the objectives or the tonality or the this or that, to output different creative iterations and test and learn in the market. It's going really well, and it's very progressive approach. That's one pilot. We have other pilots going on with AI. As a matter of fact, one of the other pilots we have going on is we're using 9 billion different pieces of data to come together to come with a single-minded piece of solution. I don't know about you, but I can't even comprehend how to pull together 9 billion different pieces of data. So again, Gen AI is helping us do that. The last question you had asked me about was privacy, is that correct?
Yeah, privacy.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions in there. Okay, so privacy. So privacy is very critical for us, even more critical as a consumer health company in the healthcare space. And marketing works very closely with the compliance group so that, and sometimes I think our creative partners feel maybe a little too close, but that aside, to make sure that we are not breaching any of our relationships. We, from the start, deal with state laws. We usually leverage the most strict state laws and apply that to our businesses to make sure that we're holding ourselves up to the highest standards. But even within that, there's different levels. So our website, we make sure that we have lots of disclosures and agreements. Even with our partners, as we are allowing them to partner up on our websites, we make sure that we review all of their regulations. And then we do audits throughout the year where we make sure that we're continuing to deliver on our standards of best practices. So I'm really, like I said at the beginning, impressed with how progressive we are as a company with all of the changing landscape that we have. And there's even more ability that when it eventually comes out, whether it be the cookie deprecation, the AI, we're already there and leading the way. So you do privacy stuff, right?
We do, and I think that's been a very big focus for us, like we were saying, for this year. And I think it's really combining that. How do we make sure that we can still have, come back to the people? There's privacy regulations. A lot of them come from the fact of we want consumers to not feel like their data is being taken advantage of. At the same time, we all still need to make sure that the advertising is relevant to them. So really finding that balance. So where we've been spending a lot of time, we have a methodology, like I said, it's really reimagining that idea of ID-free advertising so that at the end of the day, you're still audience targeting. You don't need a cookie to do so. You don't need a mobile ID to do so. But we need to make sure that, again, your consumers feel safe, but that as additional state laws pop up, as additional laws in other markets pop up, that it doesn't just mean we need to stop advertising in those markets, or we just go with a very generic branding message. So we've been spending time there, especially in health and a lot of restricted industries, to make sure that the data is available, is completely meeting all of the guidelines, but still enables us to kind of have this balance of we're going to make sure as advertisers you can reach the right people. They'll feel that the messaging is relevant, but also not intrusive at the same time.
Sounds fantastic.
I'm happy with it. I love it.
I know you do.
On that side, how have you guys been tackling from trying to make sure that you mentioned a lot of things. It seems like the data is what you're using to make sure it's still personalized, getting in front of the right people, and 9 billion data points?
Yes. Ultimately, I think that the big challenge is going to be keeping it relevant and personal and consumer driven. So we have to remember the person through all of this data, through all of the advancements, is we need to be true to serving our consumers and true to our brands. And if we do that, every step along the way, we won't go wrong.
And I feel like one of the things I keep seeing is people feeling like as more and more things move to digital, that we keep talking about our other buzzword being performance marketing. It needs to mean that you need to be able to measure it. Is that where all those data points are coming from? Is it overwhelming to have 9 billion data points? Is it good to have that? Like, how is it working out to be able to leverage it all, or is it too much?
Yeah, so I think that as I've looked at the industry over the years, we did go through a period of too much. And that is one of the beauties of advancements of AI and all the other stuff. I would say here that it's really important that every piece of communication needs to perform for the business. So I know we talk about performance marketing versus brand marketing, and I don't see a difference between the two. It really comes down to what is the objective that we're trying to accomplish. And so, for example, what I would say to you, if the objective is to convert people that are interested to purchase, then that would be lower funnel activities, and we might be able to measure it more through some digital components. However, if people aren't aware of your brand or aren't aware of the innovation that you have on your brand, it's going to be very hard to make people interested and convert them. And so each part of our path to purchase, and I know it's not linear, but every component of our brand marketing needs to play a role, and we should be measuring and seeing the performance of each component along that way. So I have seen in my past lives times where we try to do last touch attribution, and it becomes a trap because then you don't build the funnel at the top and you start going to really efficient marketing that doesn't build the business over time.
And then what about streaming, another topic? That's one where I feel like now we have, more than half of the homes in the US have cut the cord. Everyone's streaming, but newer on the advertising side. I think consumers have adopted it. From advertising, it's still one of our newer methods. Are you adopting that? How does that play into the overall measurement play there?
It's funny you should ask that question because, again, going back to my point before of Bear being ahead of the game, we've been doing streaming for a while. As a matter of fact, we do a lot of that media planning and buying in-house. So we're ahead of that curve, we're all in, and are seeing great results behind it. I would also say, interesting, just as much as streaming is having a surge, also social commerce is, as we all know, highly surged. And a matter of fact, people have spent more time in the past year on TikTok than they do on something like Netflix. And so we're spending a lot of focus and time trying to get ahead and master our social media. Every brand is deeply integrated into social, whether it be through creators, self-generated content, and we're really proud of the progress that we've made in that area as a team.
So let's wrap up then with, what do you think the biggest opportunity for marketers in the rest of 2024 is?
Oh, that's a good question. So I'm going to give you an answer that may not sound so sexy, but it's going to be very critical. And it was so not sexy, a glass was broken. No worries. Don't worry. So the answer is that it's really important that we stay true to serving the consumer and doing what is right for the people that we are trying to delight. And we should never lose sight of that. There's all of this technology that's coming, all of these advancements that are coming, and as long as we are doing right by what the people want, need, with jobs that need to be done, we will ultimately succeed. And so I think I would encourage everyone, with all the advancements, all the changes, always come back to what's right for the consumer and how can I delight them.
I think you're right there, and I think the other part, it's really interesting. You said Bear has done so much already. I know in some of our conversations, we'll see there's a lot of people, you said the cookie conversation has been going on for years, but a lot of people have not figured out what their next step will be or choosing the right partners, and that's the place where I think, I know everything keeps being delayed, but now is the time to start. If you haven't tested, start testing, make the decisions, because even as the cookie conversation has continued, signal loss overall, mobile with the iOS privacy changes, all the new laws that are coming out, there's enough that's starting to really shrink the available scale for the consumers.
I would completely agree. By the time that it is officially released, announced, made law, we will have been lost all dependence on that. So it won't cause big effect for us because we don't rely on it anymore.
Any questions from those in the audience?
It was so helpful and thorough that everyone just was like, that's brilliant. Good job. So I think what I found most surprising is how humble we are. And I say that in a way that we are advanced in so many areas. All these new and emerging areas that are coming, we've been working on them 3 to 5 years. And as I dig further down into case studies such as, we didn't even talk about personalization. And we're doing some amazing work with personalization, again, on Clarendon, where we have the cedar fever, where we're actually, we didn't even talk about this, but I'll go off for a second. We were able to identify certain allergy surges in certain markets that we've been able to pinpoint and target those allergy sufferers in the south central region as they have issues with allergies. And we received a 1.5% increase in brand share just in those markets, whether it be personalization, moving away from cookies. We just talked about streaming versus social. We are so ahead, and now it's all about identifying those best practices and scaling it. That was a good question. Thanks, Kelly.
Anyone else?
Yes, Andrea. Hi. That's a great question, because going back to, I'm going to tie it to Kelly's question. We have so many great practices at Bear, but they're in pockets. And so one of our opportunity is to scale those best practices and learn from each other. And so one of my big objectives is to come and identify some of these great works like Diversity, like our new One a Day campaign is amazing. And so we need to figure out what was the magic that really inspired this phenomenal work, and then how do we apply it across all of our fantastic brands. Great question, thank you. Okay, we're getting pulled off stage. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.